So I'm sitting in my studio. I have a window in front of me. I can look into our backyard. And I looked at the forecast earlier today and it's like rain, 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 rain. And I looked out and it's not raining. So I think I'm going to take a little break on what I'm working on and get my paints and go and paint. Last night I went through and added some more gouache to my palette, let it dry out. And then this morning I added some spritz of water to it to reactivate it a bit. I might spritz some more water, we'll see. Because yesterday I was running out of paint. I couldn't quite clean out my yellow, so I just made 2 new yellows. Okay, so first I'm going to take my lighter pencil and I'm going to draw the flower that I see of the Camellia. Okay, so I'm going to keep today a little simple. I'm teaching class again tonight. It's going to be almost sold out, which is really exciting. It is local to me, so I don't have to travel super far. But I still have a lot of other things to do today. So I'm trying to get some of the form of the petals down, keeping in mind that the flower is kind of pointing this way a little bit. So like this is the center. So this Camellia bush tree thing, it's pretty impressive, I'd say. I want to say it's probably been here since the house was built in 1950. Before we had this house, there was a tree in the front yard, and somebody cut it down because camellias really like it partly shaded, and so it gets a little sunburnt in the front. Their leaves got these jagged little edges, so I just sketched that in. And usually if you draw them pretty well in your sketch, it will be easier to paint. So get like the anatomy down. And I've done many years of drawing. So drawing a lot of time is like just looking and observing more than you actually look at your paper. And a lot of times when I draw, I don't move where my head is, and I just move my eyes up and down as I'm sketching it out, so that the perspective that I'm looking at it stays the same. So like the angle that you're looking at everything, it doesn't move around, so it is easier to draw in a way that it doesn't keep changing. And I do a light sketchy line, and as I am more confident in the placement of the line, I press down harder on my pencil. So light sketchy line, and then I'll press down harder with my pencil. Trying not to get lost in all the details. So I'm getting all the outer petals pretty much done. Gonna work towards the middle a little bit. This is a small flower. I mean, it's like the size of the palm of my hand, but it's pretty complex. Also, I want to thank all of my new subscribers and viewers. I woke up this morning with a bunch of new viewers and new comments from new people. People saying that they're binge watching and how helpful they're finding my videos. It makes me just so excited and happy to hear that, because I mean, that's like why I'm doing it, more or less. I want to show people the joy of art, specifically watercolors, even though I'm working in gouache in this Plein Airpril series. but it's just, I have a lot of fun with it, and I think other people could have fun too. So now I'm just doing a couple little leaves. I'll do like a dark background probably back here, and really highlight the flower. So I can take my darker color pencil and really work out some of the details. Can you hear the rain pitter-pattering on my umbrella? I'm under my umbrella. My sketchbook's under my umbrella, and my camera is under my umbrella. But I am literally less than 10 feet from my front door. So if I have to run in, I can. And it's early enough in the day that it won't get dark on me. So there is my sketch. Time to get some water out. Get water out of my little spray bottle. Put it in my cups. And then start mixing colors. Alright, I got water in my little cups up here. I'm going to start by doing the dark colored background first. So use some of this palette mud from the previous couple days. It's pretty muddy. So I'm just gonna block it in. When I say block it in, I mean by just filling in the area, kind of blocking it in. Conscious around the edges of the leaves. I kind of want to overlap the line drawing a little bit, so when I go and paint the leaves, there's not this awkward white space in between this muddy, darker background and the petals and the leaves. Because gouache, the medium using for my Plein April series, is opaque, which means you can layer over other colors. Unlike watercolor, where watercolor is transparent and you can see what's underneath the painting layers, the washes. And the color pencils I use today were just color pencils that I have. Prismacolor, Verifin, Goldenrod, and Terracotta, if you are wondering. I don't have any specific time constraints on my painting today, unlike the last 2 days. So I can take my time with it a little bit, even though I really don't want to, because I've got things to do. So my brush is a little thirsty, and so it gives this really cool texture. I'm just gonna let it stay thirsty and keep this, it's called dry brushing, keep this texture up here. If I were to add some water or paint to my brush, it would have a more smooth look. But I think this is a fun texture to play around with within your painting sometimes. Move my little clip a little bit. So I have my paper clip down to help my paper dry flat. I don't have any tape on it today. I blocked in some dark color, and I might do some more dark color. Kind of looking at what I see now. This over here I'm going to make, well, this can be another dark color. Adding some depth and dimensions to the shadows. That can be really helpful for a finished piece. In gouache, you can work back to front. Watercolor, you gotta work light to dark. So there's a definitely different mindset. And now it is time to mix colors. So my camellia bush is pink. You know, I did some pink yesterday, so I'm gonna do some more pink and greens today. But first I'm gonna do some greens, because why not? So the left side of my palette here is Gouache by Schminke. And the right side of my palette here is Gouache made by M. Graham. And you can mix the brands of gouache together, of course. So this gouache is not perfectly opaque yet, but it's a good base layer to start with. This yellow, my Schminke is lemon yellow. I find it's like a cooler color. Cooler as in not warm. Let's see. And make this leaf go back a little bit, so adding some dark. Kind of doing brush strokes in the formation of the leaf. That's pretty decent, I'd say, for a leaf. And then these leaves are here. Work on those. Blocking in some green. So the brush I'm using is my little traveler brush. This is the medium size, there's a size 8. I am thinking about investing in some other travel brushes. So if you have any suggestions, I would love for you to leave a comment about your favorite travel brushes. So travel brush are ones that typically come apart. It's like this one will come apart and then this will go inside this big black part of the handle. So they can come very compact, safe to travel around with, less likely to get damaged in transit. The bristles, so the hairs of the brush. Let's see here, I need to make a darker, more opaque green, but still kind of vibrant. There we go. Let's try that color. And a little bit darker. It gets closer to the flower because there's some shadow. It's a pretty overcast day, but making sure you have an obvious direct light source can improve any drawing or painting. So this is a little bud here. So camellias, if you have a camellia, you want to trim it like in the fall or right after it's done blooming, because over the winter is when they grow their buds for the next season. So if you trim it too late, you won't have any blooms the next year. Gently feel some sprinkles on my hand. So there are sprinkles on this painting a little bit. Man, the birds are always happy when it's rainy, because the worms are out enjoying the wet earth. And that means the birds can eat. And birds like to eat. So if you want something to stand out, you want to put dark next to it usually. If it's a light color, really want it to stand out, paint something dark next to it. And I also want to make a really dark green too. So I'm using a Payne's Gray and my lemon yellow to make a dark green to kind of give the impression of more leaves in this dark shadowy area. And then I use my ivory black and burnt sienna. See can you see the little water drops on there? It's part of the experience. I'm mostly dry. My sweaters get a little speckled, but not a whole bunch. I'm going to do a couple more dark over here, and then I'll start mixing the pinks that I need. It is time to mix some pinks, ladies and gentlemen. Grab my white, work that up, move it over here. I want to move my white first. That way I'm not contaminating it with, I'm not contaminating my original white with other colors. Because once your white gets dirty, have a lot of fun not cleaning it out. So I'm just getting my dirty water and wiping it up with my brush. Clean out the areas that I want to use. Okay, time for more white. Got some white. Now it's time to kiss on my red. Red is one of those primary colors. If you don't have a good red to begin with, you can't make a good red. You need to have a good red to start. So if your red leans towards pink and you want a nice red, you gotta go and buy a tube of red. Now if I were to paint my whole flower pink right now, I wouldn't be able to see all the petal definition that I worked so hard to create. So I'm just going to paint this like medium pink, kind of where all the darker areas are, so where the petal like folds into or behind other petals. I'm working on keeping my petal definition, because otherwise what's the point of sketching it out if I'm just going to get rid of it the first go around. So on really dark shadow areas, don't want to necessarily just do black mixing with this. I want something a little bit more vibrant, so mixing a little blue, tending towards purple a bit, and then a little bit my ivory black. So there's some really areas in this flower where you can really see deep down into it. And I'm just getting those places right now. It's a little too purple, but we'll just go with it for now. I think this needs a little bit more red. Yeah, I like that better. So I don't know what the technique is called, but I'm holding my brush almost parallel to the paper, and I'm just wiggling it around to kind of soften up the edges. I do this with my watercolor paintings quite a bit. And apparently it works for gouache as well. And it's quite damp today. And my brush is quite wet. The hairs of the brush are quite wet, so it is working. Sometimes it's surprising how much traffic there is on our road. I feel like I need to lower the umbrella a little bit so less rain gets on me and my sketchbook. Hold on. Okay. Lowered the umbrella some. Okay, working on more shadows to help define the petals is important, because if you don't have shadows, you don't have depth. If you don't have depth, you're going to have a flat looking painting, which, I mean, it's a look of its own, really. Trying to decide when I'm done with a specific petal too. This red really hydrates really well back again. Let's add a little burnt sienna to it too. I like to do a little variety of my colors, add some more interest to the art. Don't forget to like squint your eyes so you can see the values a little bit better, like what's light and what's dark. Not just the colors, but the lightness and darkness of your subject that you're painting. Okay, I think I got all my darks, and a little bit here, blocked in, so got them where I wanted them to be. A damp brush kind of feathering out some lines. Now it's time to work with some of the pinks I mixed. trying the different paints to see which pink I like better. So the different whites. So these two whites are from my M Gram, which is zinc white, and these two whites are from my Schminke, which is a titanium white. I am such a perfectionist. I really want to get good at loose paintings though, but I am a total perfectionist and sometimes I kind of hate it. Okay, Elizabeth, just block in this color and then call it good. And then go back and work on the details. I had to tell myself to stop nitpicking and just put the paint down, just like now. Otherwise you're gonna overwork the one area and it won't look as good. I'm almost thinking I should have done the light areas first, but that is part of doing an unfamiliar medium every day for my Plein Air April challenge, because I will get better at using it when I use it more consistently. Because that is just the nature of using something. The geese are flying. I need a little bit more opaque pink to do some of the coverage here. Because gouache is all about opaque. And being like watercolor. I really want to blend out the edge, but I'm just going to leave it and see if I can figure it out, depending how much time I have of this rain coming. Okay, it's looking a lot better. It's just, this is like such a bright pink. Translating it to paint colors. But you know, painting, you can go through and make it look a little bit different, possibly better than what's in real life. Okay, a couple more things, and then I think I'm going to say she's done. So this flower I'm painting is part of a Camellia bush in our front yard. She's probably as old as a house, so 1950. She gets a little sunburnt in the summer because she's in full sun. But super pretty pink blooms. I'm trying to fade it out like watercolors. Who says I can't, right? Especially when it's raining. So like the warm glow you see, that's from my pencil lines. I'll see if I can cover some of them up or not. It kind of has this nice little effect though that I like. Okay, let's get some white. And I'm going to try and replicate some water droplets. There's one. There's one. And I'm just using all the same size paintbrush on this. I haven't painted water droplets probably since I was a teenager. When I have time, this might be a good thing to practice, honestly. Especially living in Oregon. But I'm just doing it with my white paint, just because it is raining. Just do maybe some detailing with white too. A little stylized. But remember, having a light source. So this would be like with a light source. Because it's very overcast right now. There's no direct light source. Oh yeah, you gotta soften this edge here. And then, as I recall with Raindrops, you want to do dark area as well. Oh, the brush is a little fat, but I'm getting there. And then you can barely see a little bit of the yellow. Right here. Here's all the colors I mixed today. And here's my little gouache. Thank you so much for watching this. I hoped you enjoyed seeing me work through the process of sketching out and painting in gouache. This little painting of a camellia bloom and a little bud and some leaves. It's been a rainy day. I am hiding out underneath this umbrella right now, keeping you and I, as in you, my camera, dry. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to give this a little thumbs up if you like it. And if you want to keep up with all the other videos I am making this month of all 30 days of April painting outside, make sure to subscribe to my channel. That will let you know when my new videos are up. Every day I will be sketching, painting, editing my video, and uploading it to YouTube, be it before or after midnight. I'm gonna do it. So I hope you come along and got a little inspired, and happy painting.